Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Hive Podcast, introducing you to the eXp Realty trailblazers and newsmakers that are aligning under one brokerage and creating a movement in the real estate industry. I'm your Hive host, Sam Rodriguez. What is all the buzz? Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Hive Podcast, where we talk about all the real estate buzz. I'm Sam Rodriguez, and happy to have my special guest here this week, Jason Bosch. JB, thanks so much for joining us today.
Good to be here, man. Good to be here. Good to see you, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So it's always love hanging out with you and enjoying talking about real estate. I know we can talk for hours about that.
For sure.
So Jason, before we kind of get into some of the other questions, I actually want you to share first with everybody a little bit about who you are, a little bit about your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So Southern California, right? Been in real estate since I was a kid, right? Got in right out of high school, 17 years old. Started off working with REOs, the HUD world, the FHA world, and even the lending world before I got into management. I got into management late into my 20s, later 20s, 28, 29, 30, and I've been doing so since then, about 16 years, 17 years now.
Wow.
During that time, I've gotten involved, as a coach. I've been, coached a big part of my career as a leader, manager, and broker. And of course, now I also help and coach others and everything real estate, man, residential, investment, the brokerage world, the whole thing. It's all fun.
Yeah, I know you're having fun out there for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
I see you on Facebook. I mean, you're teaching courses. I mean, and I think of Jason. I mean, you've been a broker. You're still brokering with a company now, which we're gonna talk about here in a bit.
Right.
But previously, broker of record for 3 different offices, right, in Southern California.
Yeah. 3 different franchised offices. They were franchised under the Keller Williams umbrella. I was with them, and I'm proud of it. Right, for 10 plus years, a decade of my career, 1/3 of my career was spent with them, and so I was officially the broker of record for 3 offices, about 500 agents. We did about $1 billion in sales annually. So I like to call that my day job, even though I've got my hand in a lot of cookie jars. But that kept me busy, and that was a great period, which has, I feel, definitely helped launch the next part of the career. So yeah, it's been a good time, and the brokering, it continues to be where I enjoy helping others shine in the brokerage world.
Well, I think you've been known for that, right? I mean, you've been coaching too now. I mean, you were actually one of my bold coaches, right? I think it was your very first session, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
And so, being a coach, a great educator that you've been, broker of record, and always wanting to help agents first and foremost. And then you also started a school, right? A real estate licensing school. How long ago was that?
I started that about 12 plus years ago. We did the licensing school as when I first started as a broker and manager, and I was being coached by the Mike Ferry organization back then. And one of the ideas our coach gave us was to have a real estate school, new licensees that were feeding in as one of our sources of business to grow the operation. And so we initially had a company that was doing it, and I found that if I got more involved with it, I can have a better success rate at getting the students to pass and getting them, of course, to stay with our firm. And that's something that we've stuck with. We've now done that for 12 years or so. I've put through more than 4,000 students in Southern California through that licensing school. I don't know anyone personally that's done more than we have as a group. And of course, many of them have been around now for a decade. Some of them are veterans out there, and it's good to continue interacting with that group for sure.
That's pretty cool. I bet it feels pretty cool to do just that, right? To kind of see them go from getting their license and to becoming some of the top real estate agents in the markets.
Absolutely. There's a handful of them that have really become top producers locally in Southern California, and there's a whole group of them all over the place that is really cool to see, right? Because they produce and they're involved, and some have gone on to lending, some have gone on to investing, which has been a hot thing here in the last 3-4 years in Southern California. So it's definitely cool from the instructor's position to see that as well. Yes.
That's awesome. So Jason, we've been buddies, I think, for about 10 years or so. I think,
Hmm.
when I first joined Keller Williams back then too,
Right,
right? A lot of
right,
great connections, a lot of great friendships made then.
right.
We had been talking about, my move over to eXp, I think, which is coming on 4 years now, believe it or not.
Wow, that's
Uh,
gone by
um,
fast.
but we consistently stayed in contact,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And recently, you've actually, great news. I mean, I'm proud to announce that you've actually joined eXp. So
I did.
welcome.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you. It's been a long time coming, right? We've
It
been
has
talking
been.
about this opportunity, right, and this change in a virtual world that we've been seeing in our industry. And I think I probably am not the first to admit that I was a little bit hesitant to making a move, not only because of the way that eXp does business, right, this virtual brokerage, if you will, but also, right, I had been with my previous firm for a long time.
Right.
But I'm excited. I'm excited that we've gotten the chance to work back together, and I definitely think we're poised to, as a broker, we're in the direction of where the industry is headed. And more than that, we're leading it, right? EXP's got a number of years ahead of the others that are now we're seeing more and more follow suit. So it's exciting for me for sure to
Well,
join that.
exciting for us too. Definitely excited to have you not only a part of the movement itself, but you've also joined in a broker position, right? Because I know there's the
Right,
passion there
right,
that you
right,
have
right,
in helping others.
right.
So you're also one of our new managing brokers for the state of California.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I was brought on and we were speaking with you and some of the members of leadership, we were talking about where we need a big part of where the need is, right? And in California, I don't know how if you've already announced this or not, but the number is growing, right? We are almost at, can I say, our
Go for it.
number?
Yep.
We're
Yep.
almost at 5,000 agents. As a matter of fact, we're likely going to reach that 5,000 number this week. And so that is, if you can imagine from an operational perspective, from a brokerage perspective, guys, eXp runs like one giant office. So in essence, this is a 5,000 person office. For me, a guy that managed for years 500 agents, to going from that to 5,000, I mean, just the volume of transactions, of agents, of the movement, there's a lot of need there. So yeah, when I accepted the role, I was definitely super cool when asked to help out in the California brokerage room, and I'm excited to be a part of the team, and I get to see a lot of faces that I recognize, meet some new people as well, and also expand my own horizons, right? Because now I'm not only working as a broker in Southern California, but the whole state, NorCal and the Central Valley, and even all the way up in the top in the state of Jefferson, all the way down to San Diego and the border. So I'm excited about it, and we're doing big things.
Definitely. I mean, California has been red hot. I mean, for growth, but our agents are selling a ton of real estate, right? I mean, you see, because I'm sure your phone's ringing off the hook.
Always.
And I mean, I've seen some of our top teams. I mean, even they're increasing their production by not just like, hey, I'm doing an extra 5 million, 10 million. I've seen some of these teams that are doing an extra 100 million. I mean, those are some giant books of business out there.
Big producers, really, really big producers. And I know you talk about this in your podcast and to the people you come on with, but the eXp model really helps teams. I mean, it's a support system for teams. And coming from where we came, teams have been promoted, right? In a way, for me, Sam, this is a way of taking real estate back to the way it was. Some things don't change. Back in the 1980s, shortly after I had started in the real estate, I started in 1993. There was a lot of boutique brokerages, right? There was a lot of brokerages where you would go, and it was a blue-haired lady driving a Cadillac many times, right? We say that
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
sarcasm, but she was the queen bee of her local community. And she had an office, and the agents would come in and they would do floor time, and they would largely learn the business because of that agent's influence in the community. And the real estate world evolved from there into these big giant brands that, franchises really took over for, I would say, a good solid 3 decades. But now, the last maybe 5 or 6 years strong, we almost see it going back to some of that boutique environment where strong listing agents that have a presence in the community are allowing others to join in under their umbrella and learn the ropes, get buyers deals, grow their footprint. And it really caters to that type of new old, if you will, or reinvention, I think, of brokerage. So it's exciting to see, right? It's exciting to see what old becomes new again. And of course, now with all of the technology, for some of these teams, the sky's the limit, because they're no longer just in one geographic area, but they have a footprint in a larger area because of technology. And that's really cool.
It is really cool. In fact, we talk about technology and it's new, right? I mean, eXp is, we talk about technology, eXp being a tech platform with Virbela, making our cloud-based office platform, right? But it's also hard to wrap your head around that too, right? I mean, we like, if you're in real estate, we all came from somewhere else. And if you come from somewhere else, you didn't come from this cloud company, right? It's, I used to think of virtual as a brokerage that just didn't have an office, and it was kind of the broker license, and agents kind of hung their license there, and that was pretty much it, right? No support, no nothing else. eXp is not that. You want to talk a little bit more about that? I mean, because even your experience, I think, even in getting into going to the office, it's not going to the office the days of old, but also COVID's kind of forced us, too. So maybe I'll let you share a little bit about that experience. Well, and kind of how the mind shift too, seeing how cloud is like not the future, it's the now. I'm curious as to, technology, the way it's been changing the world. I mean, COVID has also kind of forced everybody's hand, right?
Totally.
Talk a little bit about, why eXp now, and, part of it I know had to do with the technology and the eXp platform, and brokerage change, right? I mean, we're talking about the old way, and, this tech it's not the future anymore. It's now, right?
It is. And if you're just now getting into it, you're already late, right? This year for me, I think for many, myself included, was a big eye opener, where the government in Los Angeles County, where we were doing business, shut us down for, I don't know, it felt like forever, but it was probably about 2 weeks. And the brokerage, the franchisees, the brokerage owners, the leadership team, myself, we weren't totally sure how we were going to continue doing business, right? Because we were called essential. People need to buy and sell homes. And yet, how do we effectively do that? So the creativeness around what leadership had to do to support agents was at an all-time high, right? Let's get into what we're doing now. Let's get into Zoom. Let's make sure our text messages are on point. Let's do classes. We were really, and I love it. It was like cranking that brand new way of communicating to our agents. And then, of course, that became the normal.
Right.
Into a month of that and 2 months of that. And then here we were at summertime. And then you and I, coincidentally or not, right, spoke again. And of course, as you said, we've been friends through the years, and we've stayed in contact and interacted. And then now, when we spoke about eXp this time versus how, at least for me, I heard it to the last, it was totally different, because now we were all virtual. But then I realized how much further ahead of the virtual game you were than where I was. That as a broker, as technology is applied, as the agents are interacting, you guys have already done, and you've done it for years, what we were scrambling to recreate. And it was that reality that then made me see it in a second, right? And not that I didn't think that was where we were going to anyway. I realized that eXp was onto something. And yet I think COVID, at least for me, helped me see that the transition I needed to make needed to happen quicker.
Got it.
So once that took place, then I was like, all right, this is the way. And then of course, I was much more open to the conversation, given those circumstances.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. I mean, not all businesses, are able to kind of pivot as many
Right.
say, because some other businesses just can't do businesses in a platform like in a virtual platform.
Right.
But many can. I mean, we've seen a huge shift. I mean, even Verbella, right? We talked about that a couple times now. That platform, it wasn't a new platform, but all of a sudden, the numbers that I had last heard was a few hundred unique visitors per month pre-COVID to like reaching 10,000 plus
Sure.
unique visitors on a monthly basis after
Sure.
that.
Well, well, I'm sorry to interrupt.
You're good.
It's just that the reality of it is, Sam, that this is where the world is going, right? I have my girls in school right now. They're like in this hybrid Zoom program. There's a whole bunch of challenges going on with that, right? Like some kids interact at a higher level than others. The instructor has and I could understand that as an instructor working with adults and keeping their
Right.
attention. The teacher has a harder time keeping the group of 30 engaged. And gosh, let's face it, God bless these teachers, right? If they have a student anything the way I was when I was a kid, that's a hard enough task having them in the classroom.
Yeah.
Now they're at home with other kids around. Sometimes there may or may not be parental supervision. What's my point? My point is, this is where we're going. Society and technology moving into the future anyway. We're doing that with schooling, I believe. We're doing that with medicine and how doctors and nurses and patients interact, right? And the fact that we in real estate have a company that years ago already saw this and is taking the lead really makes everyone else chase them, so to speak. And that's not to say that there's not wonderful brokers doing great jobs on the outside. It's just to, I think, make that claim of reality that we here are so far ahead of the game of what's likely going to occur in many industries, either way you cut it. So like you, I'm excited about it.
Definitely. So Jason, we got a few more minutes. I guess, I'd love to kind of wrap with, what, because you just recently made the move, right, to eXp.
Right.
We've all, again, if we were in the business, we came from somewhere else.
Right.
A lot of great companies, like you said, right? There's no bad business. There's no wrong company. There's a model out there for every type of real estate agent. So what would you tell somebody? I mean, somebody who's looking at eXp, somebody who maybe for the first time, maybe they've heard about it already before. Maybe somebody's already spoken to them about it. Like you said, right? Even though you and I met about it, we talked, right. But we understand too that something needs to either happen sometimes in somebody's life or their business before they might not be ready to fully hear or see this model.
Sure.
What suggestions, what input would you share with any other prospects out there?
Well, I'm a businessman first and foremost, right? I look at everything from a business perspective. As a coach and the agents that I work with every day, we look at the return on investment. Okay, what you're putting in regards to what you're doing back. That's business, right? It's not charity, it's business. In the brokerage world, and I've been a franchisor, I've been a boutique owner, I've been a broker associate, I've been a broker manager. The brokerage business, like your business as an agent, is also there watching their profit and loss. They're there because of profit. The competition is great. As you've noticed, in anywhere USA, there's a lot of competition for you as an agent to work at the brokerage. There's a lot of entities pulling at one. Well, we can give you this. Come here and we can give you this, right? You're their client. You're the customer as the agent for the brokerage. eXp can offer things that other brokers simply can't offer because they have more elbow room financially. I want you to think about this. In California, we have a 5,000 person office. In any other format, that would take easily 50 managers, 25 managers if they were grand, right? How many offices are we talking about? How much staff? How many leases? How much insurance? How much of what we as a brokerage have to operate before we could give you something? At eXp, if you could swallow that mental sometimes objection of it's virtual, you're probably working virtual anyway and not realizing it. But once you get past that mental objection, the tools that we can offer you simply from a dollars and cents business perspective, in many cases is greater than what other brokerages can offer. And of course, then if you're a team, it's really like a partnership. So that business side of it for me is the biggest thing. If you're looking at, is this potentially a fit for me? Well, I would compare. I would compare what you could get, what the value is, what the support is for what in essence you pay. And I think for many of you, if not most, you'll see that there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, I mean, there's T-shirts here, Jason. I don't know if you've seen them. It says it's just math, right? I mean, it business. In fact, it's funny because I remember learning this one. I grew up, math was not one of my favorite subjects. I grew up telling myself all these years, I said, I'm not a numbers guy. And I remember one of our classes, actually, I think you might have even been in this one. And I was corrected big time. And now I say we're all numbers people, right?
Totally.
We're born
Absolutely.
we're born, they weigh us, they measure us, they give us social security number. We have driver's licenses and we have our life money. It's
that's how we know how long we've been here, number of time around the sun. That's right. It's all numbers.
Exactly. And so here, I mean, it's you talked about it, business. I mean, if you're business savvy and you're you may not be looking, right? And I think some people make moves that they're not looking for something different.
Right.
But I like what you're saying, just to compare. And
I
welcome them.
And we stay friends either way, right? You and I stayed friends despite the fact that I had some objections for a while, and that's totally okay. And I know some agents, maybe through their excitement and enthusiasm, maybe, say they come across as a little bit commission breath with the brokerage, but they come from a good place, right?
That's a great point.
Yeah, if you're looking for a move, whenever that is, like for me, I had to go through my period. If that's you, when you're ready, someone on this end will be ready to talk to you about it.
That's awesome. Well, Jason, I'll encourage the folks listening, watching us here, pick up the phone. We always tell people, try to poke as many holes in the model as possible. Reach out, talk to somebody, somebody like Jason, so I'm sure you'd welcome
absolutely
some phone calls, text to reach out, chat with you about eXp. And we're always here to help anybody taking a look, right? But that's just
absolutely. And I got to tell you, I've been running brokerage operations at a franchise level for a decade. I moved because I'm confident in what we could do operationally here, even in the virtual space. So absolutely, I'm available. If you want to reach out, I'm here to help.
Awesome. Well, Jason, this has been awesome. Thanks so much for joining here today.
Thanks for having me, my friend.
Definitely want to have you back, and we can talk more about kind of more market of the moment stuff. So always enjoy hanging out with you, and we can keep chatting forever. But this one's gonna have to end here today.
Anytime. Be well. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks. Have a great day. All right. Bye-bye. And that is a wrap on another episode of Hive Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and give this episode a thumbs up if you like what you heard, and remember to subscribe for future episodes. You can also catch some highlights and other eXp news and industry buzz on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts.